love a good gay bar. I have a great time. Pride Month, I don't understand why we're celebrating sexuality, but like I was always okay with that. I never had like negative.
But when your kids start going.
But once the kids are going, and once you have people actually getting blowjobs in the street, and once you have guys on leashes, like that's something else, right?
Yeah.
Like certain things are meant for your
It's almost
bedroom.
like it's about the kids at a certain point.
Almost, it's like this weird obsession with like having kids have access to it, and I don't know. I mean, I do know why. Like, why are you having a drag queen read to kids? Why aren't they reading to like disabled veterans? Why is it a kid?
The only reason disabled veterans will let it read to him was because they couldn't fucking move. They're like rolling, it's like the fucking wheels locked. Like, can you imagine that skid? Like, what the fuck? Lieutenant Dan.
It's like, I lost my legs for this.
Why aren't they reading to disabled? Disabled veterans can read to themselves. What the fuck?
Candice. It's like
disabled veterans don't need anybody to read to them.
Companionship, and like you've never read a story with your wife, like you've never shared a book or read.
I don't read to my wife.
No.
Does your husband read to you?
Sometimes,
like
yeah.
What?
So one book that we do, we still haven't finished it. It's Einstein's Dreams, and he'll read it out loud before bed, and I just
Is it
love
just like formulas?
No,
like E equals MC.
So romantic. He knows how to get to me.
It's just fucking math. All right, now for the proof of relativity.
No, it's a really beautiful book because it talks a lot about time and your perception of time, and I think especially if you're a parent with young kids.
So you'd be like getting ready to go to sleep, and he'll just be reading to you.
Yeah, like it's like they're quick
That's
little short
nice.
stories, and it talks about like one thing a lot of moms, I think, I don't know how much dads do this, but you're in this weird place with small kids where you want to like freeze the moment because it's just so amazing and you love it so much, but you know that you can't do that, nor is that like the best thing for the kid.
Right.
And
speaking of, I saw like a 6-year-old with a binky in the airport, and I almost said something this week. Today.
What do you do when that?
He was in a stroller. This kid's like in kindergarten. He's in a stroller with a bink, and he's getting backed into the bathroom. I'm like, I did a double take, and it was like gone.
And that's what that is, though. It's these moms that are holding their kids back from developmental milestones because that means that they're less dependent on me, and then therefore my self-worth
That's gonna be a fucked up kid, though.
For sure, but it's not about the kid. It's about the mom. You know, like it's terrible. It's like Munchausen, or it's like that. What do you call it? Like that devouring mother complex.
Yeah.
It's just unhealthy, but like there are unhealthy, mentally unstable people. This is like less dark than that. It's just like that like pain that you kind of feel of raising small kids. And then it'll give you different stories about like how time exists differently in certain dimensions, like different possible realities.
So they made Einstein into like a Hallmark book?
It's really fascinating.
It's like Tuesdays with Maury meets Einstein.
No, it's really deep. It's really deep, and it'll make you think, and then you'll be like,
Einstein's Dreams?
Yes, I highly recommend it.
All right, I'll check it out. I'll start reading to my wife. She'll be like, what the fuck are you doing?
No, I promise it's going to be romantic. It will be romantic. And there's 5 minutes, not even.
Cool.
But like back in the day too, before like TV, you'd all sit in like the sitting room or the drawing room, and you'd have your fire, and someone would read as entertainment.
Do you think people did that?
Huh?
Do you think people did that?
Yeah. They didn't. What else would they do?
Sleep. Gotta wake up at the crack of dawn and cut wood.
Yeah, but before, like after dinner,
Think Abraham
storytelling
Lincoln?
around the fire.
Yeah.
That's always been a thing.
Probably. I wasn't there.
I'm not saying vets can't read.
That's what she said, Candice. So why do the drag queens read to vets instead of little kids? That's the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life, by the way.
But you have to ask yourself that, or like the elderly. Why aren't they reading to the elderly? You know, like if they're saying that they're doing it because...
I actually have seen some clips of drag queens dancing at nursing homes, and the nursing home patients look terrified.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll see if I can save it in my bookmarks. I'll send it to you. It's fucking hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
It's like twerking and shit, and like the old people are just like throwing money.
What else
the
am I gonna do?
like dollar just like floating down.
Oh no, but I guess going back to like who you allow in your club and not, you know, I think that there should be room for grace and for forgiveness, and not everyone is going to fit your idea of who is a quote like perfect good person. And if they're supporting like the values and principles of the party and the country, like let them in. Yeah, right? I agree with you.
Well, I think one of the problems that Christians make is similar to a problem that we in the West have made, or a mistake that we in the West have made. A lot of people think about what happened in Germany as like this fluke thing that this funny dude with the weird mustache did. But like, you don't learn about what happened by reading Mein Kampf. You learn about what happened by reading the speeches, because the speeches that Hitler gave from 20 to 33 were how he came to power. So if you read the speeches, you know that this is what resonated with the people that he was speaking to. He started out in beer halls with like 7 people, and then it ended up being thousands upon thousands. And you realize that what happened with Nazism was what happened by an entire people. It's not something that happened to a people or a spell that was cast on a people. It was something that actually came from the people. Like Hitler was inevitable out of those people. He did not make them that way. They made him, right? And you have to realize, whether you're Jewish or American or German or whatever, the lesson of World War II is not that a rogue madman committed evil atrocities. The lesson of World War II is that we are all susceptible and vulnerable and capable of doing the same thing in the right conditions, right? And
that's a hard thing to consider.
Right. It's a very hard thing to consider. And that's the problem I have with what we're talking about with a lot of people within Christianity, is they think of themselves as better people for whatever reason. And it's a level of self-righteousness that doesn't make that, it's not justified by better actions. It just makes them ignorant of their own sin. Like, they don't realize their own sin because they think so much about the sin of others that they don't even know, like, when they're fucking being vain or super. And a lot of sin is not even an action. Like, you could live your whole life without actually doing anything wrong, but you could be just like rotten inside, So I don't know. Maybe some people just feel like the only way to get close to God is to recognize the sin of others, and they feel like it propels them relatively in some direction, but it's really fucked up. You don't really hear a lot of the disciples spending their time talking about other people's sin. Not so much. Just encouraging people to repent. I don't know. I just don't give a... The only people that I criticize really are globalists and pedophiles, because I'm happy throwing those stones. I can answer for those stones because I'm not a fucking globalist. I'm not a pedophile. So I'll throw stones at those people all the time, but pretty much every other sin, I'm just as guilty at some point.